If you follow me on Instagram, you would know that I'm building the lightest gravel bike in the world, and in this video I'll show you the frame set and the modifications I've made to it. Obviously, to say something like this, especially when building a gravel bike that has quite a wide definition, we need to set some rules. And given that I'm building the bike that I'm planning to ride, to race, and not just a show bike to hang on the wall, I want to make zero compromises when it comes to functionality and strength of the bike, while at the same time make it look super nice. So here is the list of must-haves that I think any modern bike should have. First one, wide tires, and I'm talking about 40 millimeters or wider. Wide range cassette, and by that I mean at least 420%, so 10 to 42 or wider. And no full aluminum cassettes that will wear out after too muddy rides on a gravel bike. I will be using a 12-speed group set, even though I know that I can make it lighter on an 11-speed. Obviously, tubeless wheels. No tubeless that I won't be comfortable taking for a 100-kilometer ride in the middle of nowhere. Plus, they're not practical unless you are building a cyclocross racing bike, which I'm not. Finally, all components need to be approved for gravel, so no cheating. Light, functional, strong. Usually you can choose two, but I want to hit all three, and unfortunately this comes at a cost. So as you can see, I'm building a proper gravel bike with no compromises. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the frame set. So this is the final result, but to get to this point, there were several stages the frame had to go through. Let me talk you through them. The choice of the frame set was obvious. To build the lightest possible gravel bike, I needed the lightest gravel frame set available on the market, which is specialized CRUX S-Works. The weight of the frame in size 56 with the hanger is 758 grams, and the weight of the uncut fork is 409 grams. And this is unbelievably light for a gravel frame set. Similarly to my Aethos S-Works, I decided to hide all the cables inside the frame, and I could have gone with the same route as with my Aethos and installed the Gera fork, which is the gravel specific fork with D-shaped steer, but this would have added an extra 100 grams to the bike weight, so I decided to modify the original CRUX fork. So I gave the frame set to my friend Chris, who helped me with the Aethos project. Ready for some challenge?
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a big one.
I have a lot of challenge for you.
Yeah. Let's see it.
And he covered the cable port on the frame with some carbon. This added 7 grams to the frame weight. And then he covered the cable port on the fork as well. And you know what that means? Bye-bye warranty. Also, what he has done with the fork, he added several layers of carbon to reinforce the steer and then drilled the hole within the steer to allow for the cable exit. This added 17 grams to the weight of the fork, which is quite substantial, but I want to be comfortable riding the bike, so I'd rather have a lot of reinforcement on the fork steer than always thinking about that it can break under load. And the way the internal routing will work, both hoses will go inside the handlebar, then into the stem, and then from the stem they will enter the steer tube from the top. And you might see that there is a expansion plug from intent that has a large opening, so to allow both cables to go inside the steer. And then to exit the steer, the rear hose will go via this new hole that we made, and then the front hose will go via the standard exit at the bottom of the fork. So that's the theory, but we'll see whether it actually works in the next video. Guys, since you are here, can I ask you a favor? Please subscribe to my channel. This is extremely important to me and the best way to support my work. This means I can build even better, crazier bikes and make more videos that you can enjoy. Thank you. When all carbon work was finished, I sent the frame set to Jack, who painted my 2 previous bike projects. Jack has first sanded down the frame and fork to bare carbon. This helped to reduce the weight by 52 grams for the frame and 18 grams for the fork. And in the meantime, I've created a paint design and then spent probably 2 hours trying to choose the right color for this.
Look.
Is it ready?
Yes.
It's done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We've decided to go with the Cerakote finish. Not only it's super light, but it's also very durable, which is great for a gravel bike. Another benefit of the Cerakote finish is that it's super thin. It means that you can paint even small parts on the bike, like bolts, caps, through axles, and even the ball caps. And that's what we did with this project. Let's now weigh the frame and fork and see how much weight we added with the Cerakote finish. This weight is incredible. Cerakote finish only added around 15 grams to both frame and fork. I then cut the steel of the fork to the length I need, so the final weight of the fork is just 375 grams. I think this frame set looks incredible with the color-matched extra light stem and stem cap and Beyond Cycles seat post, as well as the ball caps of Hope calipers. I'll be using Ceramic Speed SLT headset bearings that have solid oil technology. This means I don't have to worry about all the mud that gets into the headset, and given that all the cables will be going inside the headset, inside the frame, replacing the headset can be a real pain, and this would mean I would need to disconnect the hoses and rebleed the brakes, so I wanted to avoid all these hassles. You might have also noticed that I'm using a custom headset spacer that was 3D printed by the guy with the nickname LucendiWW on Instagram, and this cap is extremely light. The top bearing cover as well as the cone spacer weigh less than 5 grams, and this is 13 grams saving compared even to the carbon cone spacer that is made by Specialized. The seat post clamp is made by Uniper, less than 7 grams, and I replaced the silver bolt with the black titanium bolt. I've also replaced the steel bolt that is holding the rear derailleur hanger with aluminum one to save some weight, and I'm using titanium bolts that were sent to me by T-Parts for both the rear caliper and the front. Guys from T-Parts also sent me this ultralight flat mount adapter. It saves 5 grams compared to the original SRAM or Hope. It might seem not much, but it's actually 50% saving compared to the original weight. One last thing that is left is the logos, and I specifically asked Jack not to paint any logos on the frame because I wanted to play with various designs, and I spent quite a bit of time thinking what color of the logos I should choose. Safest option would be to go with black, it always looks great, but I wanted something different, something a bit more fresh, so I decided to go with pink. I don't even know whether I will like it or not, but the benefits of having decals rather than painted logos is that you can always remove them and change to a different color. And like with my Aethos project, I design and cut the decals myself, so I have this freedom of trying different designs and options and see what works best. So let's apply the decals now. So, what do you think? I actually quite like it. It S-Works for me, and I also like that when you look on the bike from the side, you don't really see any logos on it, so it looks super clean. And the fact that I decided to go with the pink logos make them really not that visible from the distance, which again, I like, but when you're close to the bike, you see all the details. But let me know what you think about the design of this frame and the colors. It would be really interesting to read your comments. So I'm really looking forward to start building this bike, and believe me, this bike will be mega. I've never gone that far with trying to save every possible gram, and I've done some calculations in the Excel spreadsheet, and the weight of this bike will be crazy. So make sure to subscribe to my channel not to miss it. Catch you in the next video.